Most Americans think that marijuana should be legal, and Donald Trump campaigned on being the administration of the people, but the Trump administration will soon start cracking down on recreational marijuana, ramping up the embarrassing, pathetic, retrograde, counterproductive war on drugs. 8 states currently, plus DC, have effectively legalized marijuana. 17 states have introduced legislation to do the same thing. The policy of the Obama Justice Department was marijuana is still illegal federally, but we're not going to interfere with states who have made their own laws to legalize or decriminalize. But that was just a memo. It doesn't really have legal power. It could easily be undone by new reefer madness Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who has consistently opposed marijuana and cheered the war on drugs. Sean Spicer, talking about marijuana at a recent press conference, says that decisions from the DOJ and law enforcement about the enforcement of federal marijuana laws could change. Here's Sean Spicer. Take a listen to this.
I do believe that you'll see greater enforcement of it because, again, there's a big difference between the medical use, which Congress has through an appropriations rider in 2014, made very clear what the intent of what their intent was in terms of how the Department of Justice would handle that issue. That's very different than the recreational use, which is something the Department of Justice, I think, will be further looking into.
Yes, further looking into. Once he started being asked more questions, including by Glenn Thrush from the New York Times, started being evasive, and we know exactly the direction that it's going. Recall that the guy in charge now, Jeff Sessions, said he was okay with the Ku Klux Klan until he found out that they smoked weed, said you can't be a good person if you smoke pot. The Trump campaign and administration constantly talk about, we're going to honor states' rights. What happened to that? States' rights is a joke for Republicans. It's only when they like it. States' rights to ban abortion, get rid of Roe v. Wade, that's great. States' right to ban gay marriage, cancel out the Supreme Court decision, that sounds great. States' rights to hand out guns like candy, no restrictions, hey, get rid of those federal gun laws. States want to legalize marijuana. Whoa, 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 Pat. What about the federal government's power all of a sudden?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where they can kind of just do on their own. They don't have to go through Congress at all because it is existing law. And of course, federal law trumps state law, the Supremacy Clause. Supremacy Clause. And also, yeah, that's a good point too.
I feel like I threw you off with that. Yeah. No, there's a lot actually that could be done, is the truth. People saying, well, Obama wrote the memo, but actually the Justice Department could get U.S. attorneys to send threatening letters to marijuana businesses saying, hey, you're breaking federal law. They could file lawsuits against states because, again, marijuana is illegal by federal law. And the worst nightmare would be DEA raids start up in the states that have legalized marijuana.
And the thing is, when you think of the coalition that elected Trump, I mean, it's a vastly diverse group of people. But some of those folks are these libertarian, small government types. They're going to be very upset if these pot shops start getting cracked down upon by the Trump administration. And they're probably going to end up regretting their vote for Trump if they chose to do that. Yeah. And his approval rating would continue to go down in that case.
I like how you say that a diverse coalition voted for Trump. That's true, just not diverse in the sense we normally think of as diverse. But yeah, libertarians, disaffected independents, the religious right, absolute low information lunatic grifters, the pro-business Republicans. It was a coalition in that sense, but didn't really include some of what we would normally consider diverse.
It was not racial diversity.
It was not racial diversity, that's for sure. And of course, the Republicans against small government, when it's about not regulating businesses or letting people have their armed militias or not funding social programs. But all of a sudden, when it's marijuana raids or defense spending or whatever, small government goes away for right-wingers. So we will be following it. And by the way, same day that this was announced, the U.S. government is going to be restarting some of their contracts for federal private prisons. You'll remember under Obama, big announcement, no more federal contracts with private prisons. Of course, very few people are actually in federal private prisons, doesn't matter. Slowly sort of eroded. And now, at the same time that we're hearing that there may be a crackdown on marijuana, we see new contracts with federal private prisons. Probably not a coincidence, is it?
Well, yeah, it makes sense. If you're arresting more people for marijuana, for selling it or even using it, you're going to have to put more people in jail, and that kind of helps the prison industrial complex right there.
And Bernie Sanders tweeting about this very, very much against what's going on. He sent a couple of tweets about this, one saying, private prison companies invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in Trump's campaign, And today they got their reward, also tweeting, Trump just opened the floodgates for private prisons to make huge profits by building more prisons and keeping even more Americans in jail. Indeed, discuss this with us on Reddit. We are on Reddit at davidpakman.com/REDDIT. Today's episode of The David Pakman Show is made possible in part by Warby Parker eyeglasses. Warby Parker recently did the right thing and ditched advertising on right-wing conspiracy website Breitbart, pulling their ads off. And you can get the free 5-day home try-on from Warby Parker. Check out their glasses. I use them when I'm not wearing contact lenses. I started with the free at-home trial. They send you 5 pairs of glasses. You see which ones you like. You send them back, and whichever one you pick, they will put your prescription into. I like this because I can actually show the glasses to other people and not have to just decide on the spot like in an eyeglass store. The eyeglass industry is controlled by very few corporations that keep the prices very, very high, even over $300 for prescription glasses. With Warby Parker, they start at just $95. Mine costs that, including lenses. And for every pair sold, they give a pair to someone in need. So to try the 5 pairs and support The David Pakman Show, go to warbyparkertrial.com/TDPS.